Good morning, students. In the previous class, we stopped for the first 4 steps, that is isolation of the DNA, digestion of the DNA with restriction endonucleases. Same endonuclease is used for the vector also. So from the digestion of DNA, we will get fragments of DNA of various lengths which are separated by gel electrophoresis, and fragments moves based upon their size lengthwise. The same is repeated for the vector also, that is plasmid. Same enzyme is used to cut the round shaped plasmid will open at a particular place, and in the presence of DNA ligase, we are going to join the piece of DNA which is obtained by elution process in the gel electrophoresis. The piece of DNA or a gene of interest, desirable gene, which is now with the help of DNA ligase attached, joined with the plasmid. Now it is called vector or recombinant DNA. It is finished. So the next step is this vector having passenger DNA and vehicle DNA, that is this plasmid or this recombinant DNA, we have to keep it in the host cell. Before we are entering into that process, it was mentioned, if the gene of interest, if we want to multiply it in many numbers, many copy numbers, if we want to amplify, if we want to get many copies of gene of interest, we have to go for a process which is called PCR technique. PCR means polymerase chain reactions. Polymerase chain reaction. Polymerization means increasing addition of nucleotides, like replication. Chain reactions, not one reaction, a chain of reactions, cyclic reactions, where one piece of DNA, it can be multiplied into 2, 2 becomes 4, 4 becomes 8, 16, 32, 6, like that. Every time, every cycle, every chain, the number of DNA will be double the number of pieces of DNA. So polymerase chain reactions, multiplication or amplification, process of amplification. Amplification means getting more copies, multiplication. Amplification of a piece of DNA. What is this piece of DNA? Maybe it is a gene, desirable gene, or a piece of DNA is also called alien DNA, or it is also called gene of interest, desirable gene. If we want this piece of DNA in many multiple forms, more number of these copies, genes, for various purposes, we can go for this piece of gene for forensic studies, or we can send for this sequencing of nucleotides in that gene, or it can be used for what is the function of this particular gene in the organism's body by the scientists. So various purposes. So in biotechnology, PCR technique is used for various purposes to identify the genes, its location. So polymerase chain reactions, process of amplification of a piece of DNA into many copy numbers, and approximately and up to 1 billion copies. Each time becomes double. It was first discovered and developed by Kary Mullis, 1985. Won Nobel Prize in 1993 for chemistry. And this is called PCR technique. So a single DNA piece or gene of interest, a piece of DNA can be multiplied and will get hundreds, thousands, millions, approximately 1 billion copies in a particular time period, of 1 day. In 1 day, we can produce from a single copy up to 1 billion. And Kary Mullis, he has developed these reactions, PCR technique, in a special device called DNA thermal cycler. DNA thermal cycler. So in this device or machine, it has, so in the NCERT book they have not mentioned this, my dear students. DNA thermal cycler is a device, a machine. It has 3 temperature dependent steps. So the process is called polymerase chain reactions, and polymerase chain reactions can be made possible in thermal cycler. In this chain reaction, they are having 3 steps is equal to 1 chain reaction, 1 cycle. 3 temperature dependent steps are there. These 3 temperature dependent steps are, they are denaturation, first step. Annealing. So temperature dependent. So this is the first step. It depends upon some temperature, some particular temperature, range of temperature. Annealing, it also depends upon some temperature, range of temperature. Extension, it also depends upon temperature, some range of temperature. So in this machine, it provides various temperature. It shows difference in the temperature, either raise in the temperature or low in the temperature, decrease in the temperature. And for these 3 steps, Mullis requirements are DNA having DNA segment having sequences which are DNA segment having sequences which are considered as gene and express some character. So in the textbook they have given DNA, the region to be amplified. The region to be amplified, we'll see that. So requirements, Mullis requirements are, First DNA having sequences which are, so a segment of DNA. Second requirement, 2 sets of primers. We have studied already in the replication primer. A primer is a short complementary DNA having 10 to 20 nucleotides or oligonucleotides, 2 sets of primers. So here DNA which has to be taken, so DNA segment is taken as template. Let us see this. It requires DNA polymerase enzymes. Multiplication or replication or amplification is nothing but polymerization. But here DNA polymerase enzymes are specific, not normal DNA polymerases. They are specific thermostable, means which can withstand to high temperatures. DNA polymerase enzymes specific thermostable, THERMOSTABLE, thermostable enzymes. These are extracted from a bacteria living in hot springs, hot water springs, and hot water springs are found at Alps and the Yellowstone National Park of USA. A bacteria living in hot springs of Yellowstone National Park of USA. So the requirements, DNA which can be used as a template. Which DNA? The DNA which is having some sequences which are acting like gene, which can express some character, maybe a protein, maybe an enzyme. 2 sets of primer. Primer is that which will initiate the process of replication. Without primers, process of replication cannot initiated. DNA polymerase enzyme. So normal DNA polymerase enzymes are not able to withstand to high temperatures because it is temperature dependent steps are there. 3 different temperature dependent steps. So it is a specific thermostable enzyme, and this thermostable enzyme withstand to the high temperatures. It is extracted from a bacteria living in hot springs, hot water springs found in Yellowstone National Park of America. That bacteria is called, the bacteria is Thermus aquaticus. Thermus genus name, aquaticus species name. So from this bacteria is living in hot water conditions where high temperatures exist. Even though it is able to survive in that hot water temperatures. And from this bacteria, the enzyme which is extracted is called Taq polymerase. In the nomenclature, we have seen the first letter from the genus, that is Thermus, T. The second 2 letters from the 2 letters of the species, Aqua, A-Q-U-A, T-I-C-U-S, aquaticus, first 2 letters. First 2 letters and first genus. TAQ, TUC polymerase. What is TUC polymerase? What is TUC stands for? TUC is the name of the bacteria, Thermus aquaticus, from which this enzyme has been extracted, which can able to withstand to high temperatures which are prevailing in the thermal cycler where PCR reactions can be carried out. So this TUC polymerase is compulsory. Only with the help of TUC polymerase it is possible to continue chain reactions, polymerase chain reactions. Now, let us see with the requirements and deoxyribonucleotide triphosphates. Deoxynucleotide triphosphates. ATP, GTP, TTP. Mullis requirements. DNA, sets of primers, polymerase enzyme. Now, the process of PCR technique involves 3 steps, that is denaturation, annealing. Let us see this clearly. What does this denaturation means? How much temperature is required? What is this annealing means? How much temperature is required? What is this extension means? How much temperature is required? Let us see. PCR technique. This is the DNA molecule, segment of DNA, which has and this is the place where sequences are there which are considered as a gene, a piece of DNA with specific sequence. This is the area. The region has to be amplified. In the textbook clearly given, amplified. Now this is the DNA and this region has to be amplified into many hundreds, thousands, millions, billion copies. How? First step is called denaturation. First step is called denaturation. Denatured means losing its nature or breaking its structure. Now, denaturation is a step which is at a temperature of 94 degrees centigrade. In the thermal cycler, 94 degrees centigrade temperature if we apply. So these steps are temperature dependent steps I mentioned earlier. Denaturation, first step. It requires high temperatures of 94 degrees centigrade. So what happens? The double stranded DNA denatured and becomes single stranded DNA. Separated. So the DNA molecule which is having 2 strands with hydrogen bonds, when they were exposed to heavy temperatures, high temperatures, they were broken down their bonds and separated into single stranded DNA molecules. Single stranded DNA molecules. This process, which maintains 94 degrees centigrade denaturation, splits. First step. Now, The second step is annealing. Annealing means hybridizing or joining with second step. What is this? I mentioned two sets of primers. Two sets of primers. One set of primer at 3' end of one strand here. What are primers which are complementary to the? And always a new strand will be synthesized in 5' to 3' direction only. One primer here. Another primer at 3' end of this. Another primer at 3' end of 5' to 3'. So, two sets of primers, and always primer should be at 3' end of the DNA templates. 3' end of the DNA templates. 3' end of the DNA templates, because new strand will be always synthesized in 5' to 3' direction, because DNA polymerase recognizes the direction of replication or multiplication or polymerization starts. So here annealing. Now at the time of denaturation, the temperature is 94 degrees, high temperature which was, but at the time of annealing, the temperature has to be reduced or cooled. Temperature should maintain 50 degrees centigrade to 60 degrees centigrade. When compared to 94, it is less cooled. When compared to 94 degrees, the temperature maintenance here is temperature. So this process depends on the temperature. This process depends on the temperature. Here temperature it requires more. Here temperatures at these low temperatures are cool temperatures, which is said to be cool when compared to 94. 50 degrees centigrade to 60 degrees centigrade, our primers are attached to the DNA templates. This process is attachment or hybridizing. Hybridizing is called annealing process. Annealing process. Now, third step. Now we are going to take the help of Taq polymerase. We are going to take Taq polymerase, plus we are going to take deoxyribonucleotide triphosphates, which are the substrates. Deoxynucleotides. And the temperature is again increased and maintained at 72 degrees centigrade. The temperature so temperature fluctuations are there, temperature dependent steps are there, which can be carried out in that machine, in that device, which is called DNA thermal cycler. Now what happens when the temperature is raised to 72 degrees, even though temperature is more, the Taq polymerase enzyme is able to withstand and continue the process of polymerization. That's why it is called thermostable enzyme. Thermostable, normal DNA polymerase enzymes cannot withstand to high temperatures. They cannot continue the process of polymerization. So here what happens? Let us see. We have given here this, it will extend 5' to 3' direction, and it forms complementary new strand. this one. So extension, third step is called extension. Extension means, extension indicates that polymerization process, the primers in the presence of third polymerase enzyme with the help of substrates deoxyribonucleotide triphosphates, they goes on synthesizing a new strand. Again here this strand which is having 3' to 5', the extended structures moves it produces from a single DNA 2 DNA molecules, and this is called one cycle. One cycle. And it has mentioned the process of annealing at the rate of 50 degrees centigrade to 1 minute time it will take, and the total process will take, depends upon the length of the gene, nucleotide sequences, DNA. Depends upon the length of the gene, the process will be taking 2 to 3 hours or 2 to 4 hours. And if the same one cycle, it for about repeated many times, second cycle, third cycle, fourth cycle, fifth cycle, for about, in this device, in one day, there is a possibility of 30 cycles. 30 cycles, which can produce approximately 1 billion DNA molecules, that is DNA pieces or gene of interest. So extension means polymerization. Primers will extend their growth by taking the deoxyribose in the presence of enzyme. Extension means polymerization. Denaturation, separation or splitting. Annealing, adding primers. Growing the primers or polymerization. One DNA will become 2 DNA, like that. If the cycle continues for 2 power 30 generations, how many possibilities? 1 billion DNA fragments, pieces of DNA are possible. So here the capacity of this thermal cycler is maintaining the temperatures, and the capacity of Thak polymerase is able to withstand to the high temperatures, and the ability of is to grow in less time more number of copies. PCR, polymerase chain reactions, which were beautifully explained by Kary Mullis, and it is a technique which is used extensively in biotechnology, genetic engineering, recombinant DNA technology, in forensic studies, in the identification of the genes and its functions, various sequences present in a gene. So in various ways, now like this, any piece, hundreds of pieces are available, you can do hundreds of different experiments. Here there is no need of worry of a single gene is available. If our experiment is failed, then how to get another gene? No need. Once we have received a DNA, isolation of DNA, from that DNA we have received a single piece. How? By cutting with restriction endonuclease, by moving in the electrophoretic plate, restriction fragment length. When they were moving, based upon their size they were arranged, and based upon our need, our requirement, if we identify a particular gene of interest, we have to take that gene of interest, is called elution. After elution, we have to prepare a vector. After that, we have to join. Before we are going to do this, we have to get multiple copies of gene of interest for many other experimentations. Now, the next step is, now here it is ready. Our gene of interest is ready. Gene of interest is incorporated into a and finally we are able to get a recombinant rDNA, or here a rDNA is made up of two different genetic constitutions. This is called gene of interest or alien DNA, piece of DNA, or passenger DNA. This one, and this is called vehicle DNA. Vehicle DNA or DNA of the plasmid DNA. Now, a plasmid DNA is also called vector DNA. So various names are there. Plasmids are the vectors and plasmids are the carriers of desirable gene. Now the next step is, we have to keep this recombinant DNA into a particular host to get it transformed. So next step is transformation process or inoculation of recombinant DNA into a host organism for transformation and for selection of the transformed host. Now here this is an important question both for PUC and NEET examination. Any competitive examination, they may ask various temperature dependent reactions or 3 marks PCR technique. Now we are having extension, means extended primers, which is called polymerization. So this is recombinant DNA. It has to be introduced into a host. Introduced into a host organism. The host organism may be a bacteria, maybe a plant cell, maybe animal cell, or human cell. Remember this, host organisms varies based upon our experimentation, our need, our requirement, our process. Generally, in this recombinant DNA, we are studying with a bacterial cell, transformation with a bacterial cell. Now, let us take Escherichia coli. It is the bacteria generally used as host. So Escherichia coli bacteria is generally used as a host organism, host cell. And how to make it? It may not be in a position to ready to take the DNA, or DNA cannot enter into its cells. So we have studied in earlier class, make it competent. First, bacterial cell or host cell should be made competent. They have given in the textbook in the paragraph. There are various methods of making the cells, host cells competent. And there are various methods to entry, to send, to transfer, to incorporate, to introduce into the host organism. Direct method, indirect method, micro injection, electroporation, so many are there. Biologistics guns. Here, generally used as host, first bacterial cell should be made competent. Once it is made competent, then a gene of interest for example, a gene for antibiotic resistant towards antibiotic ampicillin. Listen, my dear student, carefully. In the book they have given differently. So here same, we have taken this, a gene for antibiotic resistant towards ampicillin. Means this is a gene having antibiotic ampicillin resistant. Gene ampicillin resistant is incorporated into a plasmid. Incorporated into a plasmid. Now this plasmid is introduced into a competent host, that is Escherichia coli. Competent. So it is ready to take by the methods, and we have incorporated this into this. Let us see here. A gene for resistance against a drug called ampicillin drug. Such a gene is called ampicillin resistant gene. And we have collected ampicillin resistant gene. This is the ampicillin resistant. We have incorporated into a plasmid. This is a plasmid. When we use the same enzyme, it will cut this and it will open this. It will open this here. Now both are with the help of ligase joined recombinant DNA. And this recombinant DNA introduced into the, transferred into the, before this it is not having this. Escherichia coli is not having this. After this, and we are growing these bacterial cells, and now this bacterial cell, if it is having this cell is called resistant to ampicillin, or it is called transformed cell. What is a transformed cell? Changed from one state, physical state, to another physical state, as we have studied in the rough bacteria and smooth bacteria. Transformation. Here, earlier when there is no rDNA in the bacteria, it is a normal bacterial cell. Its structure is different, its function is different. Once it is incorporated, and so many bacterial cells are growing, it is incorporated. It is not compulsory that this will incorporate into all the bacterial cells which are growing in a medium. In some bacterial cells, they may be present. In some bacterial cells, they may not be present. And those bacterial cells where this is present, what is this? Resistance to ampicillin. Now let us check which bacterial cells are having resistance against ampicillin, which bacterial cells are not having resistance against ampicillin. Now we will keep this into gel plates, agarose gel or medium where ampicillin is present. Ampicillin drug is given in the medium and we have dropped all the bacteria which are maybe having, may not be having when they were growing. And how to identify if any bacteria is having ampicillin resistant gene, it will grow in the ampicillin because it is having resistant against ampicillin. And the bacteria which are not having, they will not grow. And which are having resistance gene, ampicillin resistant gene, they will grow. So now these are all called transformed cells, changed, converted, transformant cells, whereas the cells which does not receive this, non-transformed cells. This is the way, this is the method. So ampicillin is used as a selectable marker to select which are transformants, which are non-transformants. So ampicillin is resistant gene is towards the resistance to against ampicillin. If ampicillin resistant gene is not there, bacteria cannot withstand in the medium of ampicillin, it will die. So with this we can easily identify which bacteria among the 100 or 1000 are having ampicillin resistant gene which can withstand in the ampicillin medium. So ampicillin resistant gene is considered as a selectable marker. My dear students, they have given textbook, see it clearly. Under what conditions ampicillin resistant gene is used as selectable marker? What is a selectable marker? We have seen already selectable markers to identify transformants, non-transformants. To identify recombinants, non-recombinants, we have seen, which is a cumbersome process, and we use alternate selectable markers. So rDNA technology, my dear students, we are entering into the last parts. Now host cell, it is transformed. Now culturing the host cell in large scale in the medium. Sixth step, culturing the host cells in the medium in large scale. Culturing the host cells. Which host cells? Transformed host. Culturing the transformed host cells in the medium in large scale and obtaining or extracting desired product. Obtaining or extracting desired product in large scale. So in the textbook they have not mentioned this as the subheading of that paragraph, that is last paragraph. They have not mentioned this. They mentioned obtaining or foreign gene. What is foreign gene here? This is the foreign gene. What is the transformed host? Bacterial cells are the transformed host, where they are incorporating, they are having foreign gene. Obtaining or extracting desired products in large scale foreign gene. So foreign gene, gene of interest, desirable gene, alien piece of DNA, passenger DNA, target DNA. So many names are associated with this isolated DNA, piece of DNA, which is extracted after cutting by with restriction endonucleases. Now, this topic has to be start like this. We are having transformed host bacterial DNA, E. coli, and E. coli is having a plasmid, and in this plasmid, for example, the foreign gene is nothing but responsible to create a character in the form of protein, a protein producing or an enzyme producing generally. For example, we have given a gene here, we have added a gene here. This gene is a foreign gene, and this gene stands for the production of a protein. It means if gene expresses in the body of this, gene expression means this gene has to produce mRNA, it has to produce translation and produce a protein. Then the gene is said to be expressed in the form of a phenotypic character, in the form of a protein, in the form of a enzyme, a character. So here, this is the gene of interest, this is the plasmid which is having RE site compulsorily for replication, and we are growing this E. coli in medium. So what is the motto of genetic engineering or rDNA technology is? Generally, in most of the rDNA technology cases, the most important motto of the technique is to produce a useful product in large scale. Useful product is nothing but protein. For example, E. coli is a bacteria, and we have taken this gene from a animal body, eukaryotic organism, or we have taken this gene from a plant body, or we have taken this gene from a human body. So, an eukaryotic gene which is taken as gene of interest and which is to be cloned. Cloned means getting multiple copies, and here cloning means when this foreign gene or gene of interest is incorporated into a bacteria which is a prokaryotic. So the gene is eukaryotic. Suppose the gene is eukaryotic gene, it is incorporated in the different organism. So this is called, E. coli is called heterologous. It is not homologous. Heterologous organism, heterologous host. Generally question comes based upon the concepts and understandings. What is a heterologous host? What is a heterologous host? Heterologous host is nothing but a bacterial body which consists of recombinant DNA, which is having gene of interest. And when we are growing this bacteria in the culture medium, one bacteria become 2, 3, 4, 20, 30. In that bacteria, this gene, it has to express in the form of a protein. So if protein is produced, the required protein, so the gene is responsible for a protein, insulin protein, for example, human. human insulin gene we have incorporated into the bacteria, and we are growing the bacteria. Why? To see whether they are growing or not. We are growing the bacteria, that this gene has to be expressed to produce that protein. What is that protein? Insulin protein. So where this gene is growing, it is growing in a different organism, prokaryote. Which gene it is? Actually eukaryotic gene. So bacteria is a heterologous host. Now if, last sentence, if gene is expressed in the form of protein, such a protein is called, recombinant protein. My dear students, again statement type of questions. What is a heterologous host? What is a recombinant protein? One of the following is correct with recombinant protein. The motto of biotechnology is to produce proteins. It is difficult to produce in the body of human beings, or if we want to take insulin from the body of animals, we have to slaughter hundreds, thousands of animals. So the population of the animals, and when we take this insulin from other animals' bodies, it may cause some side effects in the human body. So it is very easy, and it is a technique by which we are able to synthesize synthetic insulin from the bodies of bacteria, which is easy to grow them, easy to recombinant, easy to produce them, easy to culture them, easy to get the purified form of protein from the bodies of bacteria without causing harms to any other organisms. We can cure all the diabetic patients found in the world, not only in the country, in a particular country. So here, recombinant protein, it means when a gene of interest and which is expressing a particular protein, if it expresses in the body of heterologous host, such a protein is called recombinant protein. Now let us see here, culturing the transformed host cells in the medium in large scale. Why large scale? We require large amounts in the form of tablet, in the form of medicine, in the form of biotech foods, designer foods, dietary, new diets, designer diets. So in large scale, while we are going to see our scientists, when they were performing these experiments in the laboratory, production of desired product, production of desired product. What is desired product? Protein is the desired product. Protein is in two methods. Recombinant protein. One is small volume cultures. In laboratory, by using shaped flasks, small volume cultures in laboratory, this is called closed cultures, batch cultures, they does not produce appreciable amounts of desired protein products. So these sentences they have given at different places in the textbook. In the first page they have given small volume cultures, last but one paragraph. Small volume cultures means in a particular flask or test tube like structure, a flask like structure, in the laboratory they will put raw materials, that is the culture medium and the host organisms having recombinant protein, having desirable gene, they will multiply them. Once the raw materials are dropped, the process of growth of ferment, whatever we call, it will be completed. Once it is completed, the extract will be extracted in the form of a batch, first batch culture. So this much of small amount of protein can be produced. Again, we'll wash the flask. Again, they will add another batch culture. Another short, small volumes of cultures can be extracted. Like that, which are called closed cultures. Closed cultures means once we drop in this flask some amount of raw materials, from other side we will collect the protein. Protein will be collected only once it is closed. Again, fresh raw materials will be dropped. Again, undergoes production. Again, we will collect. It will wash. This is called closed culture, or batch culture, or small volume cultures, where small amounts of, they cannot yield appreciable amounts of products. Whereas large volumes, by using bioreactors, 100 to 1000 liters of mass raw materials can be used. They are called open cultures. Continuous cultures, they are called discontinuous. What is this closed and open? Let us see this in short. There is a vessels called bioreactors. They are having, we are keeping the raw materials, goes on production. From other side we are collecting the, but it is not closed. Continuously we are dropping the raw materials, continuously we are collecting the useful products. A continuous culture system. Here only 1 or 2 liters, 3 liters, 4 liters are used in shake flasks, small volumes. Whereas in bioreactors, thousands of liters of raw materials, and they will be never stopped. It is not closed, it is an open system. Continuously raw materials are coming, continuously product is utilized. To produce large amounts of desirable products, we have to use continuous culture mediums, where the raw materials are used in bioreactors, which are special vessels, special large vessels, where the recombinant DNA technology last stage, that is in large scale, and after in the extracting desired product. We'll see in the coming class the last 2 steps.